footage you're about to see, I use this, which is a Glock 17 clone built on a P80 lower, which is my daily carry. And I load up 5 rounds of my last ditch ammunition, which uses remanufactured primers and cast bullets made out of wheel weights and range scrap. And I fired 3 out of the 5. I have 2 that fail to go off. I clear my weapon, and I end up going back and finding one of the rounds that didn't go off the first time. My backyard sucks for trying to find brass because I have tall grass in it, but I managed to find the one. I reload it back into my weapon, and I managed to fire that one off. And I show you that all 4 hit my target. This basically is just a video just to show the naysayers that say you can't remanufacture ammunition using spent primers, that you absolutely can. So go ahead and take a look. Howdy y'all, Red here, just doing a kind of a catch-up video, talk about a few things. I have over 125 subscribers. I've only been doing YouTube for about maybe a month and a half, 2 months, so for me that's awesome, so thank you, appreciate y'all subscribing. Another thing is my most popular video, which last time I checked is at 2.8 thousand views, is my video on how to remanufacture or recycle primers. So I've had a few naysayers. First off is people not waiting till the end of that video to watch I actually shoot my remanufactured primered ammunition. So if you haven't actually checked that part of the video out, I wholeheartedly recommend that. The first part of the video is basically how to remanufacture or recycle the primer, and then I go into the rest of my last ditch ammunition project, which is how to cast bullets, how to make sorry for all the ums but how to make homemade wax lube, stuff like that. I also have a video about how to make your own do-it-yourself homemade buckshot out of just regular bird or target shot for shotgun shells. So if you want to check that video out, I'll post a link for that in the comments. But you you know, it's frustrating me taking all this time to sit there and try to figure out the remanufacturing process for these primers, how to do it the fastest and most efficiently. And I've figured out a few things since I did that video for people just to watch the first minute and a half and go, oh, pfft, it's impossible. It's a waste of time. Well, first off, when you're remanufacturing primers, this isn't something that you do in a non-shortage year. Obviously, you just go to the store and buy some. Also, people say, oh, you can just order the compounds online and you can do it. You don't have to waste your time using the cap gun cap method or the strike anywhere matches method or the snap cap method or anything like that. Well, yeah, you can. You can definitely order the compounds online. But this is something right here where it's just a skill that you can kind of work with and work on and build the ability to do. And that way, if you ever need ammunition, quick, fast, in a hurry within 24 hours and you don't have the components, you can run out, you can get the components, you can go to any old, you know, range. You can pick up range scrap lead. You can go to tire repair stores and pick up wheel weights. You can go to any rifle range and pick up spent brass. You know, as for the gunpowder, I haven't perfected the way to make homemade gunpowder yet, but you know, you can go still purchase commercial gunpowder in the stores, whereas right now you can't purchase primers. But right now I am working on reloading some primers. I've already pulled some anvils, and just a quick way to do that is I'll take my needle nose channel, not channel locks, but vice grips here, and I will basically hold the primer cup, and then I'll just put it down on the table. I'll take my pocket knife, and my hand is nowhere near the edge of this blade as I'm doing this, but I'll literally just poke the primer and the anvil will pop right out. So then I'll set that aside, and I'll do, you know, 20 of those, 30 of those all at once. And then I'll go to my metal flat surface, which in my previous video I used a hacksaw blade just sitting on a cinder block. And I'll use my punch, and this is the most important tool out of this entire thing, in my opinion, but I'll use my punch to hit it with a hammer and flatten it out so that it'll look like this. And of course I'll show you a picture here because you're not going to be able to see it very well just by flashing on the video. But so I'll flatten it out, and then in the original video I said cut the caps into little squares like this, and then use a knife like this to cut it out. Well, you can do that, you can absolutely do that, but that's really slow. What I've been doing is I've been actually using a leather punch like this, and I've been leaving them in the rolls like this, okay? And that way I can do this. Now, what I usually do is I'll only do 3 of these at a time, because what happens is these cap gun caps actually go inside this pair of pliers here, and you don't want to do more than 3. I've tried doing like 6 or 9 or whatever, and usually eventually there's just too much pressure that's inside there, and eventually they'll all just combust, and you've just wasted a bunch of time and a little bit of material. But anyways, I'll do 3. I'll take my punch, and I'll push those out onto my little board here. And I'll do that a bunch of times. Until I have a whole bunch of those. And then I'll take my knife. This is the one and only stage I'll actually use this knife at this point. And that's when I'll actually sit there and pry the tissue from the cardboard backing of these caps. Which is kind of a pain. I just ruined that one. But as it turns out, you can actually do this a lot faster than what I talked to you about in the original video. I say that and I'm having heck of a time here on video. But anyways, I'll separate the two like that. So there's the cardboard, and that's trash. And there's the tissue side with the actual powder. And for those of y'all that say, oh, well, this doesn't work, blah, blah, think about it. On these little cap gun caps, what do you think is in there? What's that black stuff that's actually on the tissue part? That's the same exact stuff that manufacturers put in primers at the ammunition factory. It is the exact same compound, okay? The only reason we have to use 3 is because we have to build up enough of that compound inside the cap to actually combust your pistol powder or your rifle powder or whatever. So anyways, I'll take 3 of those, and then I'll use this just because it's easier just to stab and put inside the cup than it is to just use my bare hands. But I'll put 3 of those in the cap, and then I'll take my anvil pointy side down, put it into the cap like so. I'll take my channel locks and my needle nose, and all I'm doing is just trading the 2 off. Just again, I have kind of thick, bumbly fingers. That's why I use tools to do this, not just my bare fingers. And at this stage, what I've learned is to hold it away from your face, and every time you apply pressure, just look away. That way, even if you're wearing safety glasses, which I obviously recommend wearing safety glasses, I'm not wearing safety glasses in this video just because I'm not actually manually doing this. But anytime you're applying pressure, if, for example, that anvil does slip too fast and it pops all 3 caps in there, you're going to get a flash, and you're going to get that big white spot in the middle of your vision for a couple minutes, and it's annoying. So I've made well over 200 of these, and I've had 3 or 4 pop when I'm doing this stage, and then I've had 5 or 6 pop when I'm actually loading these into the cartridges with my primer hand tool. And the only reason that they popped is because I was just getting in a hurry. I was getting excited. You know, I was almost done with a box that I was loading, and I applied too much pressure, and at the earlier stage I hadn't pushed my anvil in all the way, so as I mashed that hand tool, it struck that anvil up against these caps here, and it popped. And of course there's no powder inside the cartridge, there's no projectile inside the cartridge, so it's not dangerous. It's just oh crap, dang, I just wasted a primer that I spent time making. So anyways, that's basically just kind of my update for how to do the primers. My philosophy of use on this is, for example, if you live out in the country and it's been a while since you've been into town, it's these rolls of caps, they cost nothing. I don't have it with me. I'd have to go over to my box and grab it. But, you can buy 2 rolls of these, 2 logs of these for, $3.99, $2.50 in some places. They're so cheap you can stockpile these so much, a lot more than ammunition. They take up little to no room, and you can do that. You can, make projectiles out of almost nothing, wheel weights, range scrap, stuff like that. And all you need there is, all you need there is just a mold. This takes up little to no space. You can use a cast iron frying pan. I, of course, have my lead forge or foundry, or whatever you want to call it. So that takes up a little bit of room. In a jar of powder, in a press, and again, all this stuff, you can fit all this stuff into just a milk crate, and just have it pushed away, it's stored away, and then if you need to make, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 rounds, or even 100 rounds, using this method, you're not going to be mass producing any kind of ammunition, but you can definitely 100% make 100 rounds in one night, in one setting. That's absolutely no problem. Just going from the remanufacturing the primer process to lead casting you know, your 100 rounds of whatever it is, whether it's 308, 38 special, 9mm, 45, ACP, any of that, you can do that, and you can press together your ammunition, and like I said, you'll have 100 rounds. And you know, to those of you that may be watching this and be like, oh, I need a whole bunch of ammo at a short period of time for my next gunfight, which, you know, whatever, I guess. I'm not going to talk smack to you, but this is more for, you know, the hunter, somebody that can't get a hold of primers right now, somebody that, again, just lives way far away from the, you know, at the end of the supply chain, that just can't go into town and just buy stuff whenever they want to. They can't order stuff whenever they want to. You know, me and on my land, on my my micro homestead, I don't actually have an address. So if I don't have to order something, I have to get it set somewhere else and then go pick it up. Because, you know, my house is literally just in the middle of a field. So anyways, just for you naysayers out there that say, oh, you can't do this, it's not possible, I promise you it's possible. It is time consuming. You know, using a tool like this, you can definitely go a lot faster. But that's my update for y'all. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you have any further questions or concerns, give me a comment. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And remember to ring the bell for further content. Thank you.